Bye-bye Facebook. Bye-bye Snapchat. Bye-bye Pokemon Go. What? I'm not supposed to force quit a bunch of apps? I'm just supposed to let the system manage that? Well, yes and no. Hey, I'm Renee Ritchie. Welcome back. That and a bunch of other iPhone battery life myths busted on today's show. So I want to talk about battery life. It's the currency of mobile. Literally every feature manufacturers add or we use is paid for in battery life. No charge, no fun. iPhones are typically rated for 10 to 12 hours of battery life. That's what Apple gets in its tests, and its tests, unlike some, are mostly accurate. Mostly, because these tests still focus around the light internet usage Steve Jobs talked about when he introduced the iPhone over 10 years ago. And, well, times change. Now, rather than checking email and reading an online newspaper, many of us spend our time in apps like Instagram, Lyft, Facebook, and Pokemon Go. When you add in anomalies like updates and bad apps, the drain can get painfully real. So whether you're not getting the battery life you should or you just want to get maximum effort out of your phone, people are super curious about what to do and what not to do. There's just so much information and misinformation out there. Some true, some false, and a lot that depends entirely on the context. So, let's sort it all out. 1. iPhone battery life sucks after updates. This is true, but only temporarily. If you get a new phone or update your current phone, setting it up takes a lot of power. That's because the radios turn on and stay on. For example, new processors need new bitcodes. That's new app and game downloads. There's your photos, there's your videos. Sometimes there are updated libraries, re-indexing search. And since phones can't sleep until it's done, the battery just drains away. So if you've just restored or upgraded or updated, keep your phone plugged in on a solid Wi-Fi connection and leave it alone for as long as possible. It might take a day or two if it gets interrupted a lot, but it'll be worth it. 2. Rebooting fixes everything, just like Windows. Also true. Ish. Rebooting can fix many things. If processes have gone rogue, or caches are clogged, the radio connections are wonky, or whatever, hitting reset is like giving the system a kick in the apps. On iPhone 8 and 10, quickly click and release the volume up button, quickly click and release the volume down button, and then press and hold the side button, the sleep-wake button, the on-off button, whatever you want to call it. On older iPhones, it's mainly press and hold both the sleep-wake button and the home button, and hold them down until you see the Apple logo. 3. You should never force quit all apps. False, but also ish. For some reason, this is a huge argument on the net, with everyone from current and former Apple geniuses to tech pundits weighing in on what's right or wrong. The truth is, almost all of the time, iOS does a far better job managing apps and resources than you ever could. It'll keep alive what it can, jettison what it can't, and preserve all power possible. Once in a while, though, apps start consuming too many resources. Sometimes it's outright abuse, looking at you, Facebook and Snapchat. Other times, it's just a bug. If you're seeing unusual drain, you can try and figure out which apps are the bad actors by going to the battery shaming screen. What you do is launch settings, then tap on battery, wait a moment for the battery usage to populate, then tap on show detailed usage. Now, it can be tricky to understand, but here's the deal. If you see photos in there and you've just taken a ton of pics, it's a sign they're uploading to iCloud or downloading thumbnails. If you see Tweetbot is all screen time and no background time and you've been using a lot of Twitter, that's fine too. But if you see Facebook in there and it says 4% on screen and 40% in the background, it's a sign they're doing you wrong. At that point, you can force quit just the bad app and you'll likely get your power consumption back to normal. On iPhone 10, touch your finger to the gesture area at the bottom of the screen, swipe up and hold your finger in place for a moment until the card-like multitasking interface appears, and then tap and hold on the card you want to quit until a little red circle appears on it, then tap on that and it'll be deleted. Or on iOS 12, just swipe it away. On older iPhones, double-click the home button to bring up the fast app switcher. Swipe to the app you want to force quit, and then just throw it away. If you're in a hurry, in a desperate situation like roaming at an airport and watching your battery turn red as all hope fades from your life and your trip, or you simply can't figure out which app is being a jerk, then yes, you are perfectly allowed to force quit all of your apps just to make sure you kill every possible source of problems. It's why some geniuses do it when they don't think users want to spend the time or effort to precisely diagnose the problems themselves and don't want to just delete Facebook or Pokemon. 4. Fast charging or wireless charging will destroy your battery. This is true, but also totally false. It's complicated. Here's why. Heat is the enemy of lithium-ion batteries. They can self-heal from cold, but heat will end them. If it's summer, don't leave your iPhone lying in direct sunlight or an extremely hot environment. If it's winter, try not to leave your iPhone on a heater or in front of a hot air vent, even in your car. And yeah, the faster you charge, the more heat you generate. So technically anything other than a nice slow plug like the one currently comically still shipping with iPhones will reduce the overall health of your battery. But it's not the Stone Ages anymore. iOS does a ton of work in the background to manage charging. For example, you're really only fast charging half the way up. It's so good that I don't even think about it anymore. The convenience of being able to charge faster when I need it or just toss my phone onto a wireless charger when it's available far exceeds a relatively small reduction in overall battery life I may experience years from now. Especially when most people change phones every couple of years and replacement batteries are relatively cheap, especially right now. Micromanaging power, it isn't worth the time and effort. 5. You should keep your iPhone plugged in and or never let it charge fully. C4, above. You can probably eke out a tiny amount of extra battery longevity by carefully controlling how often and how much you allow your iPhone to charge. But it's like driving 100 miles to save pennies on gas. No matter the science, it's just not worth the increase in anxiety or loss of convenience. If you want to keep track of your battery health to see for yourself, launch settings from your home screen, tap on battery health. Peak performance capability is the ability of your iPhone's battery to supply adequate charge even in the face of highly demanding tasks, up to and including those that cause power spikes. If your battery has poor health, you'll want to make an appointment at an Apple store or contact AppleCare to arrange a replacement, which are, until the end of this year, discounted. 6. Apple should just double the iPhone size to fit in more battery already. False. Really false. Batteries are heavy, and while no one thinks that matters, it makes it harder to hold your phone up longer for games, video, reading, and more. Go into a store, pick up 2 phones, the heavy one almost always loses. They're also insulators, which messes with the thermals in the device, and they're not RF transparent, which messes with the radios. A smarter solution, literally, is something like the smart battery case. Yeah, it looks super ugly, but that's because Apple cut away all the excess material and added amplifiers, so not only will it not interfere with radio signals and cost power the way some other cases do, it'll actually help boost the signal and save power. It'll also keep your iPhone in mobile mode, unlike other cases, so it won't think it's plugged in and spin up a bunch of high-demand processes like updates and bigger media syncs, again, like other cases do. The iPhone is supposed to be the naked core, so you have the minimal amount of atoms possible, but can add anything you like, from battery packs to rugged cases to wallets, whatever, and not use them when you don't need them. The only real problem here is that Apple hasn't manufactured or licensed the smart battery case for iPhone Plus or iPhone X yet, and that, my friends, is a crime. 7. You can't live in low power mode. If, for example, you're roaming or traveling and bad signal and heavy GPS are killing your battery life, slap on low power mode, even if you're at 100%. Just launch settings, tap battery, and toggle low power mode to on. You can also use Control Center, 3D Touch, or just tell Siri to do it. If you really need to eke out as much power as possible, turn down the screen brightness. Use headphones instead of the speaker if you have to listen to audio or music. And hide the clock app in a folder. That animation uses GPU cycles. Okay, that's for Silicon Geeks only. Number 8, getting a vector pin will allow your iPhone battery to functionally last forever. This is false. Totally false. But the vector pins are hella cool. One of my favorite things that Apple ever did was at WWDC 2017, they announced pins, and you could get some when you attended and some more sprinkled sort of throughout the event. They did the same thing this year, and I managed to collect quite a few of them, and they're just awesome. So I wanted to get a vector pin that looks just as awesome, and I think, total success. So whether you're a fan of the show, a fan of the color orange, a fan of the Nexus Slab font, or you just want another awesome pin for your collection, you can hit the link in the description and get one of your very own. So those are iPhone battery life myths busted. If you have any favorite battery life tips, or if something has worked for you, if one of my tips didn't work for you, please let me know. Hit like, hit subscribe, and then hit up the comments below. And thank you so much for watching.